Imagine waking up on a crisp, cold morning. The wind howls outside and the frost covers every surface. Yet, as you step inside your greenhouse, the warmth wraps around you like a cozy embrace. No heater, no burning through your electricity bill. Just the power of the sun, nature's most ancient and reliable energy source. But here's the question: how does it all work? How does a passive solar greenhouse manage to stay warm even in the dead of winter? And more importantly, how can you harness this incredible power for yourself? We'll uncover the secrets of passive solar greenhouses, a game-changing solution that could transform your growing experience and save you hundreds if not thousands of dollars every year. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the science behind passive solar heating, but you'll also have the tools and strategies to design a greenhouse that stays warm naturally, no matter what the weather throws your way. So grab a warm drink, sit back, and let's dive into the world of passive solar greenhouses. The power of passive solar. To understand how passive solar greenhouses stay warm, we need to first dive into the power of solar energy. But don't worry, we're not going into complex physics here. Instead, let's start with a story. A story about a greenhouse that doesn't just rely on external energy sources but leverages the most abundant resource available, the sun. It's a gray, overcast day, the kind where you're convinced the sun is taking the day off. But inside your greenhouse, the warmth persists. It doesn't matter that the clouds are thick because the greenhouse was built with natural materials designed to capture and store solar energy, and that's the essence of passive solar design. Capturing heat naturally using the power of the sun without spending a single dollar on extra energy. In fact, did you know that passive solar energy is a design principle that's been used for centuries? Ancient cultures used the sun to heat their homes and even grow crops long before modern technology came into play. So it's not a new concept, it's simply a return to nature's most effective solution. But how exactly does a greenhouse capture and maintain that heat? Keep watching, because in a moment you'll discover the critical components that make this possible. But first, let me take you back to the very heart of a passive solar greenhouse, the sunroom effect. The sunroom effect. Imagine for a second you're sitting in a cozy sunroom sipping a hot cup of tea as sunlight pours in through the windows. You feel the warmth on your skin even though the outside air is bitterly cold. This is no accident. This is the sunroom effect at work, the same principle that powers your passive solar greenhouse. The sunroom effect occurs when sunlight enters through transparent materials like glass or polycarbonate and gets trapped inside. The warmth from the sun builds up throughout the day, and that heat is then slowly released into the greenhouse as the sun goes down. But there's a catch. Without the right materials and strategic design, the warmth you captured during the day could escape just as quickly when the sun sets. This is where it gets really exciting. We're about to reveal the materials that make all the difference in how well your greenhouse holds on to the precious heat. But let's pause for a moment. Can you feel the anticipation building? Imagine being able to grow year-round, even in the harshest winters. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Well, stay with me, because that dream is about to become your reality. The right materials for heat retention. You've got the sunroom effect, but how do you make sure that heat stays put? The answer lies in the materials you choose for your greenhouse. This is where the magic happens. Think of your greenhouse like a thermos. The better the insulation, the longer it keeps things warm. For a passive solar greenhouse, the key materials to focus on are solar glazing and thermal mass. Solar glazing refers to the clear materials you use to cover the greenhouse, glass or polycarbonate panels that allow sunlight to penetrate, but not all glazing is created equal. You want glazing that allows as much sunlight in as possible while minimizing heat loss at night. Polycarbonate panels, for instance, are fantastic at retaining heat as they offer insulation and light diffusion all in one. And then there's thermal mass, the secret weapon in your greenhouse's arsenal. Thermal mass refers to materials that can absorb, store, and slowly release heat. Think concrete, stone, or water-filled containers. During the day, these materials absorb the heat from the sun, And at night, they release that heat slowly, keeping the greenhouse warm long after the sun has set. Here's a challenge. Can you imagine a greenhouse filled with these materials? How would it feel to know that even during the coldest nights, your plants are safe, warm, and thriving? But hold on, because we're about to get into something crucial: how to position all these materials for maximum effect. And trust me, this is where most greenhouse owners get it wrong. Strategic positioning. Where to place your greenhouse. Now that you know the materials, it's time to talk about one of the most crucial aspects of passive solar design: the positioning of your greenhouse. This is where the real magic happens. Imagine for a moment you're standing in your backyard. The sun rises in the east, arcs across the sky, and sets in the west. Knowing this, where would you position your greenhouse to get the maximum benefit from the sun? The answer? You want your greenhouse to face south, particularly in the northern hemisphere. This is because for most of the day, the sun will be shining directly on the southern side of your greenhouse, providing optimal heat gain. But here's the kicker: it's not just about positioning your greenhouse, it's about understanding the seasonal shifts of the sun too. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that your greenhouse's location could make or break its performance, no matter how carefully you've selected your materials? The slightest miscalculation could leave you freezing in the dead of winter. We'll get to the exact details of positioning, but first, let me ask, are you willing to risk losing all that precious heat? Ventilation, letting the heat breathe. By now, you might be wondering, how do I keep the heat from becoming overwhelming? Well, every great greenhouse needs a way to breathe. Proper ventilation is key to balancing the temperature and preventing your greenhouse from turning into an oven during the hottest days. It's simple. During the day, as the sun heats your greenhouse, the air inside begins to rise. You need a way to release that hot air without letting the cold creep in. The solution? Automatic vents and roof ventilation. These allow hot air to escape while cooler air is drawn in, maintaining a steady, comfortable temperature for your plants. But here's a question: what would happen if your greenhouse didn't have ventilation? What if, instead of a calm, temperate environment, your plants were exposed to drastic temperature swings? The outcome could be catastrophic, from wilting plants to poor crop yields. And that brings us to a final but incredibly important point: how to maintain the heat over the long term, even when you're not paying attention. Maintenance, keeping it efficient. Here's the thing: a passive solar greenhouse isn't just a one-time build. It requires regular care and maintenance to ensure it's working at its full potential. You'll need to check the condition of your glazing, inspect for cracks or leaks, and ensure that your thermal mass materials haven't shifted or cracked. But don't worry, the good news is, once everything is set up properly, maintaining your greenhouse can be as easy as checking a few key components every season. So, what's the takeaway here? With the right design, materials, positioning, and regular care, your greenhouse can remain warm, sustainable, and productive year after year. The best part? It's all naturally powered by the sun. And that, my friends, is the ultimate secret to a thriving, energy-efficient greenhouse. Now, you know the secrets behind how passive solar greenhouses stay warm naturally. From the materials to the positioning, to the careful balance of ventilation and maintenance, it's all about creating a self-sustaining system that works in harmony with nature. But here's the most exciting part. You don't have to be an expert to start building your own passive solar greenhouse. You just need the right tools, the right mindset, and a bit of guidance, and that's exactly what I'm here to provide. Are you ready to take control of your greenhouse and harness the power of the sun for yourself? I'm so excited for you to get started on this incredible journey. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay tuned for even more tips, tricks, and deep dives into the world of sustainable growing. Until next time, keep growing, keep thriving, and let nature do the work for you.